Hey mathematics learners, welcome to Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. And welcome to the first official video tutorial for 2024. And I thought it would be great for me to basically kickstart our year with just going through the grade 12 mathematical literacy paper 1 that was written in June 2023, because I've actually realized that a lot of you guys are preparing for your exams. So I think it'll be good for you guys to also use this past paper to practice and prepare for your exams. Okay, I love this paper because it deals with finance and it also deals with data handling. Okay, the topics that are covered in this past paper pertaining to finance is calculating interest. Okay, we are given a financial document. In this case, it's an invoice, right? So we're going to be analyzing and interpreting an invoice that relates to a booking of a guest house. And within the analysis of that financial document, guys, I'm going to be showing you guys how to calculate an amount excluding that, right? And we also have some ratios calculations within that question. Okay, so we also have questions in this past paper relating to cost price and selling price, right? We need to calculate the selling price of a particular item. We also have some tariff system questions where we basically are assessed on our knowledge when it comes to bank tariffs, right? And we also have some taxation questions. So if you're struggling with understanding what is a tax rebate, what is a tax threshold, please also watch these video tutorials because this past paper actually deals with that. Okay, please make sure that you watch these video tutorials that deal with finance. It's very important, most especially to just help you practice. Okay, this past paper also deals with data handling questions, but mostly it's just analyzing graphs. Okay, we're going to be analyzing a pie chart, we're going to be analyzing a stacked bar graph, we're going to be analyzing a line graph, right? So if you struggle in just interpreting those graphs, please make sure that you watch these video tutorials because I'm going to be going that in detail. And we also have a box and whisker plot, right, that we also have to analyze or interpret. Okay, so it's a great past paper to use, especially if you basically going through those topics. Okay, if you watch all my video tutorials, these topics are going to be nice and easy for you guys. Okay, and then we're going to dive into paper 2. Okay, so please make sure that you watch all these video tutorials, guys. Please make sure that you give these video tutorials a huge thumbs up because it really helps the channel grow. Really, it does. Okay, and it helps the channel to reach more learners that want to better their mathematics maths. Also share these video tutorials with your friends. Okay, other adult matric learners or other grade 12 learners. Please share these tutorials because it really helps the channel grow. Okay, the past paper also has questions relating to exchange rates. Okay, I just forgot that one. Okay, so guys, please make sure that you watch all these video tutorials. Turn on your notification bells, guys. Watch these video tutorials. Enjoy them because I really take my time when I make them for you guys to make sure that they are that special and they're that good for you guys, just to help you guys prepare for your exams. Okay, so without any further ado, guys, let's get started with today's video tutorial. Okay, and like I mentioned in today's video tutorial, guys, we're going to be going through the grade 12 mathematical literacy paper 1 that was written in June 2023, right? And this paper obviously comes with an addendum, so please make sure that you also download the addendum for this past paper when you actually download the PDF for this past paper, right? Because there's certain questions that need you to have the addendum. All right, so we're gonna get started with the first question, and like I mentioned, the first question basically deals with finance, right? Okay, it's under the umbrella of finance. We're going to be calculating the amount of interest that this customer has paid, right, using a hire purchase loan agreement. Okay, so let us basically have a look at what is going on here. Question 1.1 says a generator is a useful device that can be used to provide an alternate source of electricity during a power outage. Shown below is a picture of a generator with different payment options. Okay, so we're given the payment options of a generator, we're given what the cash price is, right? So we see here that if you want to buy this generator cash, you'll pay 10,999 rand, and this amount includes the 15% VAT. Okay, so the VAT has already been included in that amount, the 15% VAT. Okay, then we're also given the hire purchase payment option. So if you want to take this generator using a hire purchase agreement, okay, then you basically need to pay 10% off that 10,999, right? And then the rest, okay, so the remaining amounts then you need to pay via installments of 534 rand and 14 cents, okay, for 24 months. Okay, then we're also given the interest rate, okay, which is 14.75%. Then we're given the next payment option, and that payment option is via online credits, okay, via MobiCredit. Okay, so the installments that you'd have to pay if you take this payment option is 1,006 rand per month for 12 months, and the interest rate is 9.76%. So before we even get started with answering these questions, right, I think it's very important that we have a discussion on what it means when they talk about a hire purchase agreement. Okay, and guys, a hire purchase agreement, right, is a financial agreement, okay, that is between the shop and the customer, okay, about how the customer will pay for a desired product. Okay, as you can see here, if you basically want to take on this generator, okay, via a hire purchase agreement, you need to make a down payment of 10%. So whatever 10% of 10,999 rand is, right? That is the down payment you need to make, right? And the remaining amount, right, you need to obviously then the agreement says that you need to pay via installments of 534 rand and 14 cents for 24 months. Okay, and you also need to realize that when we're talking about a hire purchase agreement, okay, the interest on a hire purchase loan is always charged at a simple interest rate. Okay, so let's get started with just answering these questions. Okay, it says use the information above to answer the questions that follow. Question 1.1.1 says give two payment options for this generator. So this is nice and easy. This is just level 1 questions where you just have to look at the information that is given to you and just answer. Okay, so here, what two payment options? Give any two payment options for this generator. So you can either say there's a cash price payment option or a hire purchase, cash price and hire purchase payment options, or you can say hire purchase and online credit payment options, or you can say cash price and online credit. Just any of these two would do. Okay, so let's just write that down. So the two payment options that I'm basically gonna write is the cash price and the hire purchase agreement. Okay, so you can name any two payment options from the payment options that are given here. Okay, question 1.1.2 says define hire purchase within the given context. Okay, so it's very important that you guys understand when a question says within a given context, right? It basically means that now you need to take the information that is given to you, right? And you need to include it, you need to incorporate it into your explanation when you define hire purchase agreement. Okay, let me just give you a brief example of what you shouldn't do when they say within a given context. For example, if they say to you, define hire purchase, right? Then you would just say a hire purchase agreement is a financial agreement between the shop and the customer about how the customer will pay for the desired product. Full stop. You see, you are just giving the general definition of what a hire purchase agreement is. But now, when they say within a given context, now we need to look at this box that is given to us, right? where it gives us information about how the hire purchase agreement is going to go, right? And in our explanation, we need to include that deposit, right? We need to include the installments, right? That's when we will be actually answering this question using the given context. Okay, so how would we answer this, right? How would we define hire purchase within the given context? Then we would therefore say, okay, we'd still say the same thing, but now we'd have to now include the deposit, include the installment value. Okay, so we'd say then a hire purchase agreement is a financial agreement between the shop and the customer where the customer agrees to make a deposit of 10% and to pay 534 Rand and 14 Rand per month for 12 months towards the payment of the generator. Okay, and only after the final installment will the customer own the generator. Okay, so do you see how now we've basically answered the question using the given context? We've included that now. Oh, okay, a hire purchase agreement is about, okay, the customer agrees to make what? The deposit of 10%, right? And to pay an installment of 534 Rand and 14 per month for 12 months. Okay, so that is how you need to answer your questions when they talk about a given context. Okay, think of how can I incorporate this information that I have been given in my definition. That is very important, guys. Okay, so let's write that down. Right. So I've basically written here that a hire purchase agreement is a financial agreement between the shop and the customer where the customer agrees to pay a deposit of 10% and 534 Rand and 14 cents per month for 12 months towards the payment of the generator. Okay. And it's also important to note that the customer will only own the generator after the final installment. Okay. So for just giving that definition, you will get your full 2 marks. Okay, let's go to question 1.1.3. It says, write down the interest rate if the generator was bought on hire purchase. Okay, so here, guys, we are literally just interpreting the information that is given to us. Still level 1 questions, very easy. Okay, so here, what is the interest rate if the generator was bought on hire purchase? Go to hire purchase, we determine what is the interest rate, and we see that, okay, if the generator is bought on hire purchase, the interest rate is 14.75%. Okay, all right, so we're going to write that down. So if the generator was bought on hire purchase agreement, okay, the interest rate would be 14.75%. Okay, let's continue. Question 1.1.4 says, calculate the total cost of the generator using MobiKred. Okay, so how much would you pay towards this generator if you actually decided to use MobiKred? Okay, do you realize that, I mean, if you buy this generator on credit, okay, obviously there is a particular amount of interest that you will pay. Okay, you will not pay the same amount as you would pay if you decided to pay or buy this, if you decided to buy this generator cash. Okay, so now how will we determine how much you would actually pay, right, towards this generator if you used MobiKred? Okay, so to basically determine the total cost that will go towards this generator, or how much you would pay if you decided to use MobiKred, all that we need to do here is take the installment, right, and you multiply that by 12 months. Okay, that will help you. That is basically going to tell us what the total cost, or how much you actually paid for this generator if you decided to use a MobiKred. Okay, all right. So for question 1.1.4, okay, to get the total cost, okay, to get what the total cost of the generator will be, if we basically used MobiKred, you'll take the 1,006 Rand, you're going to multiply that by 12 because you're going to pay that for 12 months, right? If you punch that into your calculator, you will get that the total cost for the generator, if you use MobiKred, right, will be 12,000, right, and 72 rand. Okay, so that's basically what this question is asking you, that okay, that you'll actually be paying in total 12,072 rand if you decided to use MobiKred. Okay, so that is that. Okay, question 1.1.5 says a 12.5% discount is given on the cash price. Calculate the amount of discount given if the generator is purchased for cash, right? So here they're basically saying that if you decide to buy this generator cash, right, you will be given 12.5% discount. Okay, all right. So now they want you to calculate the total discount you'd be given in rands if you actually decided to buy this generator cash. Okay, so how will we do that? So let's have a look here, right? This is question 1.1.5. Okay, we know that the cash price, right, for the generator is equal to 10,999, right? And we are told that you're given a discount of 12.5%. Okay, so now to determine the discount, right, we already know that 12.5% of this 10,999, right, is what? Is the discount given. And then from here, it's very easy. All that we need to do now, right, is just now continue to make this a mathematical equation, right? When we talk about 12.5%, what is 12.5%? That is the same as just us saying 12.5, right, divided by 100. Okay, so when you see that percentage, it basically means that we're dividing by 100, right? So 12.5 divided by 100, okay, of, right? When you see that of, it basically means that we are multiplying by 10,999. That is equal to what? Our discount given. All right. And then from here, all that we need to do, we just need to punch these values into our calculator. So if you take 10,999 multiplied by, actually, if you take 12.5 divided by 100 multiplied by 10,999, what do you get? You'll get that actually, if you basically decide to buy this generator cash, right, you'll be given a discount of 1,374 rand 0.875 cents. Okay, and you know, guys, when you're obviously dealing with money, you just need to round this off to 2 decimal places. So this is approximately equal to 1374 points. When you round off to 2 decimal places, guys, you basically need to look at the third digit after our comma, right? You need to look at a third digit after our comma, right? And this 5 will tell us what we need to do to the 7. Okay, so if you've had a value 5 or above, that basically means that we need to basically round this value up, okay, or take the value up. If we had a value that is lower than 5, then we would actually just keep this value the same. Okay, but in this case, because we've got a value that is 5 here, right, that basically tells us that now if we have to round off to 2 decimal places, it will be 1,374.88 cents. Okay, and that is our final answer. Okay, so if you basically decided to buy this generator cash, right, you would get a discount of 1,374 rand and 88 cents. Okay, this discount is 12%, 12.5% of 10,999. Okay, I hope I didn't lose anyone there. Okay, let's have a look at the last question. It says, name the type of interest charged if the generator is bought on hire purchase. Remember, guys, I explained when I started the video tutorial that when you basically decide to buy something on a hire purchase agreement, okay, Your interest is charged on a simple interest. Okay, what do I mean by this? So now I'm going on a whole different lesson. Okay, I'm giving you guys a lesson on simple interest and a lesson on compound interest. Okay, when I talk about simple interest, guys, right, I'm basically saying when you calculate an interest, right, the interest is basically calculated on the original amount. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by this, right? And there's also another interest that you guys need to be aware of, right? And this is basically compound interest. When we talk about compound interest, right, compound interest is calculated on the accumulated amount. Okay, so compound interest is calculated using compound interest mostly for your investments, right? Because this type of method of calculating interest gives you more interest over time than simple interest, right? But when you're obviously buying furniture, right, interest is calculated using simple interest. Okay, so let me just give you an example quickly. Right? So I'm going to give you guys a nice example to help you guys understand the concept of simple interest. Okay, so let's have a look at this additional example just to help you guys understand the concept of simple interest. Okay, it says John wants to buy a bicycle, right? He basically borrowed 800 rand from his uncle and he promised to pay it back in 3 months at a simple interest rate of 5%. What is the total amount that he will pay back to his uncle? Okay, so remember when I started off the explanation of simple interest, I basically mentioned that when interest is charged on simple interest, right? Simple interest is basically calculated on the principal amount. What do I mean by this? Okay, what do we need to do to calculate how much John will basically need to pay back to his uncle, right? So he borrows the amount, okay, and he promised that he's gonna pay it back in 3 months, right? So let's see. In the first month, okay, so in the first month, right, he will get charged an interest of 5% on the principal amount. In the second month, he will get charged an interest of 5% on the principal amount of 800 Rand as well. And in the third month, okay, he will get charged an interest rate of 5% on what? The principal amount. This is the principal amount or the initial amount. Okay, so interest is charged on the principal amount, on the original amount. Okay, so how would we then calculate the amount or the total amount that John will pay back to his uncle, right? So in the first month, we'll take that 800 Rand, right? We'll multiply it by 5%. Okay, 5% is the same as us just saying 5 divided by 100. Okay, this will give us the interest that he basically pays for the first month. Okay, so in the first month, if you actually punch this into your calculator, 800 multiplied by 5 divided by 100, or 800 multiplied by 5% is equal to 40 Rand. Okay, so the interest that John will pay for the first month is 40 Rand. Okay, let's go on to the second month, right? What do we use to calculate the interest that will be charged in the second month? Okay, we're not going to take 800 plus 40 and take 840 multiplied by 5%. Multiplied by 5%, no, right? When we do this, we are basically calculating the interest on the accumulated amount, right? In the second month, how much will John pay towards his interest? Still the same thing. It's going to be 800 multiplied by 5 divided by 100 because interest is charged on the principal amount. And in the third month, it's still 40 Rand, okay? And in the third month, how much will he pay to his uncle, pay back to his uncle in terms of interest? It'll be that 800 multiplied by 5 divided by 100, which is 5%, which is still 40 Rand. Okay, so therefore, the total that he will pay back is going to be the 800 Rand that he borrowed. Remember, he borrowed 800 Rand plus the 40 Rand interest for the first month, plus the 40 Rand interest for the second month, plus the 40 Rand interest for the third month. All right. So basically, if you punch this into your calculator, the total amount that he will pay back to his uncle is actually equal to 920 rand. Okay, so it's very important that you guys really grasp this concept when it comes to calculating simple interest, right? The interest is calculated on what? On the principal amount, on the original amount. We use that original amount to calculate the interest that a person will basically pay. All right. So now what happens, right? If basically John promised to pay it back in 3 months at a compound interest rate of 5%, right? Guys, I'm basically going deep into these explanations, right? Because it's very important that you guys can differentiate between these two calculations, okay? Question 1.1.6 is a straightforward question, but I'm adding on these additional explanations just to help you guys prepare for your exams and just to have and just so that you guys have just these additional notes to help you guys when you have to calculate interest using simple interest or interest using compound interest. Okay, so what would happen if he basically promised to pay it back at a compound interest rate of 5%? Okay, let's have a look. What is the difference between the two? All right, let's have a look at this example, right? That'll help us understand the concept of compound interest better. Okay, it says John wants to buy a bicycle, right? He borrowed 800 rand from his uncle and promised to pay it back in 3 months at a compound interest rate of 5%, right? We need to determine the total amounts John has to pay. Remember, when I spoke about compound interest, right? I said that compound interest is calculated on the accumulated amount, right? So how would we determine how much John would have to pay back to his uncle, right? So let's see, right? In the first month, let's determine how much interest he would pay, okay? Let's determine how much interest he would pay in the second month, and let's determine how much interest he would pay in the third month. Okay, so bear in mind that we're going to calculate the interest on the accumulated amount. Okay, let's see. He borrowed 800 rand. So we're going to take that 800 rand and we're going to multiply that by 5%, right? 5% is the same as saying 5 divided by 100, right? How much do we get? We get 40 rand, okay? So the interest that he'll pay in the first month is 40 rand, okay? So that means that if he had to pay back his uncle's money in the first month, he would actually pay him back 800 rand plus the 40 rand, which is going to be equal to 840 rand. Okay. So how would we calculate the interest for the second month? So we're going to actually now use this accumulated amount to determine the interest that he would owe his uncle in the second month, right? So we're going to take that now, this accumulated amount, right? Do you see that this amount now has accumulated interest? It has gained interest, right? So we're going to take that 840 and now we're going to use this 840 to determine the interest that he will pay in the second month. Okay, so that is now the difference when it comes to calculating the interests, okay, when it comes to simple interest and compound interest. In compound interest, we use the accumulated. However, right, when we basically dealing with simple interest, we just used what's the initial amount or the principal amount. Okay, but let's continue. So we're going to take that 840 rand now, okay, and you're going to multiply it by still the interest rate of 5 divided by 100. Okay, so if you take 840 and you multiply by 5 divided by 100, you will get 42 rand. Okay, right? So now that means that if he had to pay his uncle back maybe in the second month, right, he would actually pay his uncle back that 840 rand plus this 42 rand, okay, which is a total of 882. Okay, so in the second month now, okay, the amount that he would now owe his uncle is 882 rand. Okay, and then what happens in the third month, right? In the third month, we're gonna use this accumulated amount of 882 Rand to calculate his interest for the third month, right? So we're going to take that 882 multiplied by the interest rate of 5 divided by 100. This is 5%. If you punch this into your calculator, you will get that the interest that he will pay in the third month is 44 Rand and 10 cents, meaning that in total, okay, John will pay his uncle back this 882 Rand plus this 44 Rand and 10 cents. Okay, so therefore the total that he will pay back his uncle will be equal to the 882 Rand plus the 44 Rand and 10 cents, which is equal to 926 Rands and 10 cents, right? So here, guys, don't make the mistake of thinking now you need to continue to add 840 plus 882 plus 900. No, guys, okay, right? Because remember, right, we've already included, remember, we went from there, that 800, and we plus that 40 Rand. And then we started now with this accumulated amount, right, to help us calculate the interest. And then we used that 42 Rand and we added it with the previous amount. So in all the next calculations, we've already included the previous amount. So we don't have to add now these amounts again, like we did with the simple interest calculation. Okay, so therefore he will just pay back his uncle 926 Rand and 10 cents. And do you see that actually if you basically use the compound interest, so if interest is calculated using compound interest, do you see that actually you get more? Because when he used simple interest, he just paid his uncle back 920 Rand. But then when you use the compound interest, he paid his uncle back 926 Rand and 10 cents, right? So his uncle basically got more, right, from just using the compound interest calculation. Okay, so that is why when it comes to investments are obviously, when you calculate maybe an amount that you'll basically get from investing a particular amount of money for 5 years, 10 years, whatever, right, we use compound interest formula of the compound interest calculations. Okay, that is basically why. But when we obviously using your hire purchase, we use simple interest calculation. Okay, so when you're using hire purchase, interest is calculated on simple interest. Okay, so I thought that it would be very, very, very great for me to just incorporate this for you guys, because I haven't really done a video tutorial where I've basically looked at the difference between simple interest and compound interest, right? So please, guys, I hope you didn't I'm praying that you guys didn't skip through, right? Because this is very, very important. But I'll just probably even just cut this video tutorial and upload it again so that you guys get this detailed explanation that basically explains the difference between compound interest and simple interest. Okay, so I thought this would be great for just taking notes and preparing for your exams, just so that you understand the difference between the two. Okay, let's just have a look at the last question, guys. Question 1.1.6. It says, name the type of interest that is charged if the generator is bought on hire purchase, right? So this one is nice and easy. We mentioned that if we talk about a hire purchase agreement, right, interest is calculated using simple interest. Okay, so that is basically the final answer for this question. It's just simple interest, right? And that is it for today's video tutorial, guys. In the next video tutorial, right, we are going to be having a look at question 1.2. And in question 1.2, it is just us interpreting the table that is given to us. It's very nice, very easy. Okay, I won't actually go deep into any concepts here. It's a nice question. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Please make sure that you click on that notification bell, guys. And I'll see you guys on my next upload. That is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload at Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. Bye, guys.